What's up, Soul Warriors, and welcome to Winning Wednesday Live with LC. Today, we're going to talk about some things that are going to make us uncomfortable, especially me. I'm going to come out of my comfort zone today, that comfort zone of normally trying to be super compassionate and trying to make sure that I say things that reach people and don't alienate people or don't make them feel bad for their situation. And today will be no different, other than I want to speak some real truth today. It may seem like it's outside of what I normally am, but I want to bring more of who I really am today, because what I want to talk about today is topics of blaming, topics of shaming. We're going to talk about grief, denial, gratitude, pride, happiness. We're going to talk about all those things in this one video today because it needs to be said. We are in a time in history where more than ever we are being called to come together as one. And where that starts is not this big, huge world coming together as one, but each individual in their movie set of their life come together in their own group of humanity. And as we do that, that builds out. And what does this have to do with recovery? It has to do everything with recovery. Because in order to walk a true path of recovery and healing, we got to get over the blame. We got to get over the shame. We've got to learn to be grateful. These are the steps in recovery. We got to get beyond our pride and outside of ourselves. And each one of us jump down from our high horses of ego and move to see that each person's way of recovery, if it's working for them, is absolutely amazing. And it would be a shame if we did not support that. We are no one to decide what's right and wrong for another, but what we need to do is come down in our own lives and learn to be grateful for each and every soul that is present within it right now. We've got to learn how to be grateful and blissfully happy in every moment that we're in, because we're blessed with life. There is not one of us within the sound of my voice, whether you're watching now or you'll be watching later or a year from now, that has been in this same battle of recovery that has not lost someone either dear to them, close to them, or someone that they know to the very same thing that we are trying to transmute and heal in this very moment. And I used to say this all the time: we owe it to them to recover well, to recover gracefully, and to recover egoless, so that we can then share that message with others. And it is not up to us to decide what is the right way, the wrong way, who's right, who's wrong, who's living right, who's living backwards, who's living this. It ain't up to us. And because when we're doing that, we are blocking ourselves from doing our own inner work. So I want to come in and hit you hard in the heart today, because we all got stuff going on in our lives. Every one of us. are looking like we're surrounded by the enemy right now. And what do we do? What do we do? Do we continue to blame? Do we continue to shame? Or do we use the places of grief and struggle in our lives right now to build up our gratitude and graciousness one to another? So that's this Winning Wednesday. So if you're down with that and you are ready to get into this Winning Wednesday, then go ahead and invite your friends, invite your family, because we are going to get down and dirty today. This is Recovery Soul Food, Winning Wednesday, live with LC and you. Let's go. What's up, beautiful souls, man? I love you guys so much, and I hope you know that. Every time I show up here, I do this from a place of love, and because I know I got a message to share. And let me tell you, it's not because I got it in some vision or some dream. It's because I have survived every single bit of this that I'm talking to you about and transmuted it into a life that I appreciate getting up and living every day. You know, it's easy, right? It's easy to get involved in blame and shame. Whether we've been in recovery 8 days or coming up on 8 years, you know, next month I will be absolutely 8 years in recovery. Still blows my mind every single day because I try not to ever get too far away from the person that I used to wake up being, the person that hated life, the person that could not see their own glory, that could not see their own calling, that could not see their gifts because I was covered up under a lifetime of pain. And I walked around angry. I walked around blaming. Why in the world did I have to be born different and suffer abuse, what I felt like was neglect, shame? Because don't think that, you know, little kids can so I'm giving this over to my higher power today. So what comes out is going to just be what comes out. I don't have notes. I don't have any of that stuff. Let me tell you about little kids, man. Little kids don't know that whatever they feel inside, they're not supposed to express. And when they express that, whether that be gender identity, whether that be happiness, sadness, hurt, imagination, when we as adults or adults in our lives come in and shatter that down from our perspective, that changes that human being. And we think about childhood as being this time when, oh, they won't remember this, but we're building foundations in them, and they were built in us. And much of what we go through in our adult everyday lives were built in those early years. And so many times, unknowingly to the adults in our lives and unknowingly us as adults in our children's lives, we don't stop and realize that we are creating a spirit of shame in them. And we grow up and we still do this to this day. Instead of being in a situation that hurts and is painful, instead of grieving in a way that is going to miss whatever it is we're losing, but gives us an opportunity to appreciate that in which is lost. We get angry because hurt doesn't feel good, and somehow anger feels better. And so we start from our own place of hurt and anger, and we begin to point outward. We begin to blame, well, this is your fault, and if you hadn't done this, well, this wouldn't be happening. And then we get into that. And as you see, blame and shame go side by side. They run the same mile within us. Because as we're blaming, at the same time, we're shaming whoever it is, even if it's ourselves. Things go wrong in our lives and we like to jump in the mirror and say, you did this. If you wouldn't have made that decision, we shoot ourselves to death and we go over everything we should have done, and not in a way that is helpful, but we do it in a way that is shameful to ourselves, and we don't even realize what kind of damage we're doing. So I was having a conversation with my wife last night, and thank God, because for so many years, I couldn't even see that we could have conversations again, and conversations like this, because I thought she was lost to me. It goes to show, and I'm going to get back on point in just a second, but it goes to show, even if you have to separate yourself from somebody who is in a dangerous situation because it's dangerous to you, don't give up on any human soul that is in your life or awareness, no matter what it is. Yes, we may have to pull ourselves back from people, from that energy, if we feel like it's drowning us, because we got to keep ourselves and our recovery safe. But it does not mean that we count that person out, or that we ever give up on that person, that we never stop praying for them, that we never stop believing that they too will become awakened to their own greatness and to their own calling, and that they too, if you release them to their higher power and yours, then miracles can be done in that life. We don't give up on people. It's not in our calling to do. And so we were having a conversation last night because our family is in the midst of great grief right now. And if most of you follow, y'all have known that this year in our lives has come with loss after loss after loss after loss. Every bit of stability that we unknowingly as human beings build our security on has been shaken out from under us. And there is an opportunity there for blame, for shame, for denial, for grief. And all those things can be healthy when felt in a healthy, transmuting way. And that's what recovery has given us, the ability to transmute all this loss into new opportunity. But our family is in the midst of great grief in this moment. I'm watching a family that I love so much come apart at the seams in grief, because no one wants to be the one to open up and say, I'm hurting. This hurts so bad. Because it somehow is easier to point the finger and says, well, if you wouldn't have done this, or if I would have just done this, or whatever, this is your fault. No, this is your fault. This is all. No, it's just hurtful. It's hurtful. And there's something in this grief and in all lessons in our lives that give us an opportunity for grace, for appreciation, and deeper love. And the grief that's happening in my family and extended family right now, and for someone that is standing not completely on the outside, but just enough on the outside to want to stand up and scream, just stop. Don't you guys see that this is your opportunity to grow deeper in love and appreciation for one another versus continuing this cycle of blame and shame and anger and separateness? Each one of us are going through things in our lives right now that are screaming opportunity for us. And yet maybe we're focused solely on opposition. And in our conversation last night, my wife and I, we were talking about all of this, right? And I started thinking about what was the moment in my life when I stopped blaming and I stopped being angry about what had happened in my life and who I had been made to be, and stopped denying all of that and just got in it and started taking it apart. And it was in one moment. You see, one word can turn a light bulb on in somebody's head, heart, and mind that can change their life forever. And it doesn't matter if you've already been saying it every day for the past 10 years. Keep saying it if you feel it on your heart to say, because it was in one moment that my entire perspective and life changed. And it was in the moment that I realized every day that I stayed addicted, angry, resentful, shaming, blaming, expecting that the world somehow owed me something, asking always, why did this happen to me? I was a kid. I couldn't do anything about it, being angry. I realized that for every moment that I spent in that space, I was letting those people, those abusers, those happenings, those emotions use and abuse me all over again. And that for me, donating my life, emotional well-being, emotional health, me donating that to all that past pain kept them in control of my life. And yeah, it was that moment that I said, boom, that makes sense. Now, that day 8 years ago had not been the first time I had heard that, but it was the first time I heard that. And it doesn't mean that everything falls away and everything just moves off. It doesn't mean that. You still got work to do. But it's like the path becomes illuminated. And in that moment, while I was working day in and day out to destroy those old emotional paths that I would take in every moment of every day, and trying to create new paths that were filled with gratitude, that tried to find the purpose in all of that pain, that tried to understand that I'm a warrior and that I am a survivor. And when I was younger, hearing those people would say to me, you're a survivor, I would think, yeah, but I don't want to be. In these new moments, I found strength in the fact that I am a survivor. And you are a survivor. And sometimes it takes just taking off the blinders, getting vulnerable enough to say, I feel angry, but this anger is covering up hurt. And we're still going to be human beings, and we're still going to lash out at people when we're hurting. But the actual crawling down of that high horse of ego is going back and cleaning it up. Man, I said some things to you this afternoon from a place in me that was just, I was wound up in my head. I was going through some stuff. I was hungry. I was tired. I was going through some stuff at work. And you know what? It wasn't your fault. And I took it out on you. And for that, I apologize. Do we ever realize how far a simple apology will go? A simple apology, a cleaning up of a mess that we create. Not letting it sit for years and years and years and fester in somebody until it marinates down into resentment. But what about our pride and ego stops us from cleaning it up immediately? I'm learning to do this. It is not comfortable. I ask myself often, why is it more comfortable to, in anger, bite at somebody else, and yet less comfortable to go back and say I was wrong? And I apologize? It shows me that I still have inner work to do. It doesn't matter if somebody else is aggravating me or whatever. I know the truth. And I know that my highest power sends these people and these happenings into my life because it opens me up to love, transparency, vulnerability. And that's the lane that we're being called to live in. Not this lane where we say, no, my way is right. No, the way I believe is right. No, this is right and that's wrong and all this other stuff. We're wasting so much time with all of that just in an attempt not to look ourselves square in the eye in the mirror and say, what kind of work do you need to do today, LC? I don't care what so-and-so's doing or this person's doing or the job or what's happening in the life. How can you be more grateful today? How can you appreciate the people in your life more today? So when that time in this physical existence ends with them, I don't have to live in the place of regret and blame and shame because I know that I gave them every bit of love that I had. I told them every time I felt moved to do so that I love you and I'm here for you and I believe in you and I care for you. And I really appreciate you being a part of my life. Your presence with me has given me so much. And it has given me the opportunity to give back to you. Do you know, if we ever started living like that, then the grief process of losing people in our lives would be so much better, easier. Not that losing people is ever easy. It's not. We'll miss that person's physical being. But there's so much that we have left to give. And what we feel the most bad about is what we didn't give, especially when we felt moved to do so. I have a rule with my friends, and I think Mr. Joe Potosi can attest to this. And my great friend and brother, Anthony McCauley, always obedient is what we say. Always obedient. When I feel moved to text or call one of these guys and just say, hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. I do it. I just do it. Even if it's not, feasible at the time, I try to remind myself to do it. My great friend Martin John Garcia as well. And it's just because I appreciate these connections in my life. And recovery brings us these deeper levels of friendship and relationship and connection that we can really, really hone in on, because when we have gone through as much loss as so many of us have, We've got to learn from the mistakes of the regrets of the past and do it different now. It's not paying memory or homage to those we've lost to stay miserable, to stay in that place of internal blame, internal shame, and regret. What really pays the most homage to their memory and their lives here is when we take that stuff and flip it around and we change that behavior. That's what a true apology is. It's not walking around saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And listen to those words. You're saying, I am sorry. Oh, I apologize. And I'm going to make it a point to do better from here. Listen, we've been through some stuff in our lives that no, we didn't ask for, and we couldn't get out of it at the time. And we did the best we could. But in those moments where we became responsible for ourselves and were able to make our own decisions and able to move ourselves in different directions, when do we wake up and realize that, man, yes, things happen and we didn't deserve them, but what are we going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? We may think, and I did think, the world owes us something, but the world don't share that perspective. The world doesn't share the perspective that I had, that I was wronged and had every right to be angry. But what was that anger doing for my life and what I could give back to the world? I was taking from the world because I felt like it owed me something, and it was hitting me square in the face every time going, no, I don't. You've got this past and this pain to carry and carry this light into the world for others that are going through it. And for me, I could not fathom thinking about my son reliving my life or paying for the anger that I had for my past. That wasn't fair. Why repeat a crappy childhood in my son's life when he had not gone through the things I had gone through? And yet, in ways, he was paying for the sins of my past and the sins that others put on me in my life. And sometimes we got to get outside of ourselves and think out in the future a little bit and turn around and look at the legacy we leave behind and what we will leave here when we go. And I did not want to leave another drug addicted, miserable, feeling worthless human being on the earth when I left. I wanted to leave a young man that saw that his parents were survivors, and yep, they made mistakes, but you know what they did? They picked it up and they turned it around. They picked it up and they did something with this life that started out bad. And I learned from them. I learned to hone my own strength. And I learned not to let anything that the world gives hold me down, and to take it and make something good out of it. And I just wanted to give him the best chance in the world that I could. And even when I wasn't doing it right, I knew I was doing it to the best of my ability. And every day of my life, I was trying to get better, learn how to overcome my anger. And many times, especially when he hit puberty, I didn't realize how much deep resentment I had inside of me for not getting to experience those things myself. That's a very hard thing. It's a very hard look in the mirror when we get real and go really deep about the way we are expressing ourselves in the world. and what we are teaching those that are around us. Because even if you don't have children, maybe you have nieces and nephews, or maybe you know children in your community, maybe your friends have children, and don't think that if you are a presence in their life, they're not looking to you as well to figure out what life's about. And so, guys, at what point do we say and accept, yeah, my life started out and it was painful? And then do we pull in and take the responsibility for what our lives are now? I watched a powerful documentary probably about, I don't know, 2 months ago that was about children growing up and experiencing lives like most of us did. And the documentary was the experiment, the test or whatever was named the Orchid and the Daisies. And basically the premise was, why is it that some children can grow in any environment and others can't? And I was one of those. I was an orchid, because an orchid needs perfect environment, needs constant just love, attention, and all this other stuff. And it's very, very delicate. It can fall over very quickly. But a daisy is classified as a weed, and it will grow up in the middle of the most wretched neighborhoods in the city. It will grow up right in the middle of the concrete and can thrive anywhere. And I don't know what inherently makes some people daisies and other of us have more orchid experiences. I don't know. But what I know is that we all have the ability to be a daisy within us. We all have the ability to thrive where we are and find gratitude in the right now and use that to create a better tomorrow. And I just hope that that's what we can take away from this day, from the things that are happening in our lives that maybe you didn't wish for or you didn't think you asked for them, but you remember, our vibe attracts our reality. Get clear on gratitude. Get clear on giving love out to the world. Get clear and comfortable crawling down off of the big horse of ego and getting down face to face with other human beings in the world and seeing that we're all fighting our own battles. And the only way for us to really win this thing called life and reality is to come together, realizing that we all have a choice to be kind to one another in those moments where we want to react and retaliate. We're called to be kind. We're called to love. We're called to reach out with the resources that we have. And maybe the resource you have is a kind word. Maybe the resource you have is to show somebody. I mean, imagine how your family would change today if, instead of getting in these ongoing arguments with people and staying in that place of anger versus vulnerability and lashing out, and if you have a family environment that does that, because we don't know what we don't know, and we create these environments. You maybe have a family that scream at each other and holler at each other, and they do all of this stuff, and they make fun of each other, they bully each other, and all those things. You may think, this is just my family. But how much change could come if you happen to be the leader that led the way of cleaning up these messes? Imagine what an impact that would create if someone heard you say, I apologize. I got into an old pattern of behavior right there, and I just reacted to you, and I came at you, and I'm working on changing that. I'm working on being better in that place, because not just because it's better for you, but because it creates peace within me. We all want to experience peace in the storm. And it all comes in choices. It comes in small acts of kindness. It comes in the ability to see yourself in another human being. It comes in stepping down off that horse that says, you're right, you're wrong. I've learned that, the way you're living isn't right. That's nobody's place. That's nobody's place. When you see human beings striving for their own wholeness, healing, and happiness, that's to be applauded. That is not to be damned and shamed and blamed. That's to be applauded. And the places in us that want us to shame whoever that is are the places of fear within our own selves that want to find our own wholeness and happiness, but we're too afraid to step out of our comfort zones and do that. What else has to happen in this world for us to get the message? I don't want to know. So I'm getting my message. And I'm grateful that I've been called and placed on a platform to help share that message with you, because I don't get it right every day, y'all. Don't get that twisted. I don't. I'm still a work in progress, just like all of you are. And we always will be. That's our nature. We're human beings, and we can never become perfect. But doesn't it feel so much better when we are in tune with other people, other human beings in our environment? Doesn't it feel better when we do something in a healthy manner versus an unhealthy, normal way we do things? Doesn't it feel better when we take control of our lives? Doesn't it feel better when we take our power back from abusers and things in our past that we cannot change and turn them into power to move forward? We all feel much better and happier when we are helping another human being, our environment. When we're helping, we feel alignment. When we're angry and blaming and in denial of our own responsibility for our own lives, we feel like shit. And the temptation is to continue the blame game because we don't want to take responsibility. And I tell you, responsibility and accountability is the only path to change. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. That's what happened for me. The only reason I'm sitting here is because I finally took responsibility for my own happiness, for my own peace, and moved away those clouded beliefs of grandeur of what peace was supposed to look like, that the world was supposed to be peaceful, therefore I could be peaceful. And no, that's not it. I got to be peaceful for my world to be peaceful. It means that I go into the storm already solid in peace. It doesn't mean I try to get peaceful when I'm in there. So don't be afraid to look into your life today and find those places of blame. Where are you blaming? Even if it's yourself, where are you blaming? And in turn, where are you shaming? And where can you clean those places up when your blame and shame runs into the world and reality of someone else? I love you guys so much. Mary Huffman, I love you. Alicia Lee, I love you. I'm proud of you so much. Connie Waters, good morning. I love you. I'm proud of you as well. Oh, let me see. Anthony McCauley, my man, always obedient. Always be obedient. Teresa DeWitt Font, good morning. Joni Faulkner, good morning. Stacy H. Joe Potosi, I love you, man. Oh, well, I love y'all. Y'all got some comments in here today. Lisa Nevin, good morning. JD Jericho in the house. I love you, man. Lana Rossman, survivor, thriver right there. She's a badass. Yvonne Von Max, I love you. Love you. Man, I love you guys. If you're here and I haven't said hello to you or good morning. And for all those that'll watch this video later, I say to you, good morning. I believe in you. I love you, and never give up on yourself or anybody else in your life, man. Miracles happen when we let go and we let God, whatever you believe or name, that great creator within us, when we let go of control of how we think other people should be and we leave them to their own calling and their own purpose, it's amazing what miracles can happen. Now, I want to ask all of you mighty prayer warriors to make sure that you keep my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, Timmy, in your prayers as he is fighting for his life right now as we speak, and he has been for a few days now. And surround our family in your prayers, because the things I'm talking to you guys about today are things we are living right now. This is work we're in. It's not work I'm talking about. It's not past work. It's work we are in. And through the most extreme circumstances in our lives can come the most extreme miracles, turnarounds, and changes. Absolutely. Don't give up on your situation, and don't get into the place where you believe your situation is going to last forever, because all things move in seasons. It's all ebb and flow. And remind yourself when depression tries to set in that this too shall pass. Grief, all of those things. Do what it takes to remind yourself that you are a warrior, that you are a survivor, that you can do and be and become anything and everything you put your mind, heart, and action to in this life. You are called for greatness in whatever way that represents itself in your life. That is for you. And don't you dare forget it. Now, you guys, I want to let you guys know that this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have our amazing, beautiful little brother, Matty Jablonski, and the Point of Change is going to be live on the Recovery Soul Food Podcast Saturday night, right here and on YouTube. So if you're not already a YouTube subscriber, make sure you jump right over there, youtube.com/Recovery Soul Food, and make sure that you turn on your bell notifications so that you don't miss one single video we put up. Be sure to like us and go ahead and subscribe to that. Hey, be sure to like this video as well, as it helps get it out to more people. Facebook and all the platforms we use, social media, they run by algorithms, and their algorithms are actually in your hands. And so like the video, share it out to your groups. But I want to thank all of you always, because you are so engaging one to another in the comments. And you know what? That means the most to me, because you all have become an amazing soul family. And that makes me so happy. Whether there's 2 of you, 20, 200, 2,000, or beyond, when you guys connect one with the other, then my calling is accomplished. We are a community of human beings, one human race. That's right, one. all created equal and all deserving of all the happiness that is within us to have. So I love you guys, and I hope that I see you all Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hey, y'all don't forget Miraculous Mondays with Anthony McCauley. He's coming up and getting ready to go into surgery. So you guys, surround him in your prayers and healing energy as well. Lift him up, because he's going to be down for a little while, but he's got the MIA morning show, Miraculous Mondays, there with Anthony McCauley. So make sure you hit that page up. And if y'all don't have Joe Potosi's book, When the Dust Settled, well, I don't even know what to say to you, because it's one of the best reads of my entire life. Head over to Amazon and make sure that you get When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi, and hook up with Joe. Joe's got a new podcast. And hey, we're finally on TikTok, y'all. That's right. I know. Y'all don't even have to laugh at me or nothing. I'm still trying to figure out how to take my long message and put it in 1 minute. So if you're on TikTok, look up Recovery Soul Food, and y'all give me your shout outs and help me learn how to put my long-winded message into 1 minute. I love you guys so much, man. Y'all have the most amazing Winning Wednesday ever in your entire life, because you choose to, and you are that powerful. I love you.